name is Emerhi. I'm the founder and I guess creative director for Marley&Blue. Owning a coffee shop has always been a passion or an interest or a dream of mine. Having a coffee space is more than just the coffee. Coffee houses, as they were known back, in the 1820s or even as far back as the 15th century, these were intellectual spaces that sometimes have led to revolutions. Eurasian empires who have banned coffee houses in the past because these were places opponents gathered to talk about the present king or to talk about the present ruler at the time. So coffee spaces have historically been spaces to sort of learn about the issues that are plaguing societies and to find your common man across the table or across the couch or seat to discuss those things. So I think coffee houses play a vital role to societies or communities. So Marley&Blue has opened its doors August 1st, 2019. In this space, I introduced counterculture, which is something that all coffee shops globally use, meaning that you go to the counter, you order your drink, you pay at the counter, and then you pick up your coffee, drink, and pastries at the counter. My mother is a professor in forestry, so green, live plants was something that she brought in from the very beginning. So that became the decorating element. Over time, as I was designing this space, I also travel a lot. So I travel a lot within Africa. And so when I was in Zimbabwe, for instance, I decided to pick up some baskets that came from Zimbabwe. When I was in Rwanda, I also picked up some coffee, of course, but also artworks that reminded me of that. So I wanted the cafe to reflect a different narrative, a hopeful and brighter narrative. So the artworks that you see, the design is supposed to kind of evoke that feeling. We have the talking drums that are hung up on the ceiling or by the ceiling. That's also another way for, if we celebrate or we gather people together, the talking drums was what our ancestors used to signal the start of an event or a start of a celebration. So there's the green gin bottle, that sort of iconic gin bottle that I have displayed in the meeting room and also between the plants. This was what our ancestors back in the day used to sell slaves. The white man would give it to our ancestors for payment. They would then feel guilt about selling their brothers, sometimes family members, and so they would bury these bottles in the ground all over Nigeria, but more specifically in the Niger Delta. So I literally went digging in Delta State for some of these bottles. You can find them today. Like if you dig deep enough, you'll find these green bottles that talk about what our ancestors did to us in the slave trade. So I was intentional about having that displayed in a subtle way between the plants, so that when people ask about it, I'm like, what, this costs $1? One of the aims for Marley&Blue is to grow a coffee drinking culture in Port Harcourt and largely for Nigeria. The coffee industry is a $20 billion industry globally. Africa contributes a good chunk of that, but mostly the consumption and the production of coffee happens abroad. It happens in Europe, it happens in Latin America, it happens in North America. These are the consuming end of that value chain for the coffee industry. Nigeria actually produces excellent coffee, and we export about 85% of that. The type of coffee that is grown in Nigeria tends to fall more on the sweeter side, so you actually need less sugar or even less milk to drink Nigerian homegrown coffee. The benefits only apply to drinking black coffee, without sugar, without milk. When you add those other elements, the benefits drastically reduce. So if you're just drinking straight black coffee, it helps with the risk of diabetes or reducing diabetes. It helps with depression, it boosts memory. We're writing that report late at night, keeping you awake, and it has a lot of benefits to deal with your heart. Reducing heart attacks, reducing heart diseases. Lastly, I would say it also has a lot to do with boosting skincare. There are really great coffee scrubs that help to give ladies that glowing skin and removing dead skin from your body. So that's another great benefit of drinking coffee. Having a bigger vision of what I'm trying to do is what sustains me. One of the things I wanted to do was to display or provide a space for local artists across the Niger Delta to use the coffee shop as their gallery. So every 3 months, every 4 months, we rotate the artwork in the cafe to reflect a new artist. For many of them, this is their first time actually exhibiting anywhere publicly. I wanted to make art easier and accessible to as many people as possible. So every 4 months, the space sort of feels and looks different because the energy that the other artists bring in adds to the whole entire element. In terms of future growth for Marley&Blue, maybe have a bigger space. I would like to have a roastery, so where I can roast my own coffee beans instead of importing it or shipping it in from the north. And to have a bigger working space. We are currently in the meeting room of the cafe, to have more spaces like this where people can have a quick meeting, if it's just for 2 hours or half a day or the whole day.